ISRO's Bahubali rocket lifts off. First commercial mission for US firm. Giant leap for satellite communication. PM hails boost to self-reliance. What makes this mission unique?
At 8:55 a.m. Indian Standard Time today, ISRO's LVM-3M6 rocket, affectionately named Bahubali, lifted off from Sriharikota with the BlueBird 2 satellite mounted on top. Within about 15 minutes, the spacecraft was placed into a low Earth orbit at roughly 520 to 550 kilometers altitude, marking one of ISRO's most significant commercial missions till date. You're watching NewsX Explained with me, Megha Sharma, and today we turn our attention to a historic space achievement. The Indian Space Research Organisation has successfully launched the BlueBird 2 communication satellite, marking a major milestone in space-based global connectivity and commercial space collaboration. Launched from the Satish Dhawan Space Centre in Sriharikota, the launch was conducted under a commercial agreement between New Space India Limited, which is ISRO's commercial arm, and the US company AST Space Mobile, placing the US communications satellite called BlueBird Block-2 into low Earth orbit in the early morning launch mission. This mission also achieved a record. BlueBird 2, weighing around 6,100 kgs, is the heaviest payload ever launched by the LVM-3 into the lower Earth orbit. Notably, the ISRO rocket has now completed its 6th operational flight and 3rd dedicated commercial mission. ISRO chairperson V. Narayanan also stated that the LVM-3 rocket achieved an orbit of 518.5 kilometers against the planned 520-kilometer orbit. So how exactly did the LVM-3 achieve this historic feat? Let's break down the launch systems that made this possible. ISRO's launch vehicle Mark III or LVM-3 is a 3-stage medium-lift launch vehicle primarily designed to launch communication satellites into the geostationary orbit. The 3-stage design involves two S-200 solid rocket boosters that provide the initial thrust during liftoff. These are also known as large solid boosters attached to the core stage. Each booster is 10 feet wide and 82 feet long, carrying 207 tons of HTPB-based propellant. The second stage is a liquid-fueled stage that is 69 feet tall and 13 feet wide and is powered by the two Vikas 2 engines, each generating 766 kilonewtons thrust. The liquid propellant is used for sustained ascent and stability. The L-110 is the first clustered liquid-fueled engine designed in India. The third and the final stage employs cryogenic fuel for efficient orbital injection and is manufactured by the Coimbatore-based LMW Advanced Technology Center. The vehicle features a large fairing with a 5-meter diameter to provide sufficient space even to large satellites and spacecraft. Together, this powerful setup has a lift-off mass of about 640 tons and a height of around 142.71 feet. This staging combination enables LVM-3 to carry heavy satellites like BlueBird 2 reliably into low Earth orbit. In what is being seen as a milestone for ISRO's commercial push, the spacecraft lifted off at 8:55 a.m. from the launch pad at the Sriharikota. And the Christmas Eve launch involved the LVM-3 rocket carrying BlueBird Block-2 communication satellite of the United States-based AST Space Mobile into orbit. This was the largest ever commercial communication satellite deployed in low Earth orbit by ISRO's LVM-3. ISRO Chairman V. Narayanan stated that the mission marked the first dedicated commercial launch for a customer from the USA. ISRO. It also marked 104th launch from Sriharikota and the 9th successful mission of the LVM-3 launch vehicle, demonstrating its 100% reliability. After about 15 minutes of takeoff, the spacecraft BlueBird Block-2 separated from LVM-3M6 and was injected into an orbit of around 520 kilometers. V. Narayanan announced that the launch vehicle successfully and precisely injected the BlueBird Block-2 communication satellite in the intended orbit. Prime Minister Modi also hailed the launch, asserting that it reflects India's efforts towards an Atmanirbhar Bharat. Prime Minister stated a significant stride in India's space sector, the successful LVM-3M6 launch, placing the heaviest satellite ever launched from Indian soil, the spacecraft of US BlueBird Block-2 into its intended orbit, marks a proud milestone in India's journey. Congratulating the space scientists and engineers behind the mission, the Prime Minister stated that India continues to soar higher in the world space. So what makes the BlueBird 2 mission so significant? Well, first and foremost, it marks another milestone for LVM-3, which has previously powered flagship missions such as Chandrayaan-2, Chandrayaan-3 and 2 OneWeb launches carrying 72 satellites. Apart from this, of course, the mission is also significant for global connectivity and commercial space growth, providing a significant push for India as not just a global space power, but as an indigenous producer and backer of space and communication technology. To further understand what this means, let's take a closer look at the BlueBird 2 satellite and what it means in the context of this joint mission. The BlueBird satellite was developed by AST Space Mobile, a US company building a space-based cellular network designed to reach even the most remote parts of the world. The BlueBird satellite was developed by AST Space Mobile, a US company building a space-based cellular network designed to reach even the most remote parts of the world. Unlike many space systems that require special dishes or hardware, BlueBird 2 is designed to communicate directly with 4G and 5G smartphones. It also supports 4G and 5G cellular services with peak data speeds of up to 150 Mbps. BlueBird 2 joins a broader low Earth orbit constellation meant to provide continuous cellular broadband, attempting to cover remote and underserved regions where terrestrial towers do not reach. How does this space-to-phone broadband, which is at the center of ISRO's mission, work? As opposed to the traditional cellular networks which rely on ground towers to transmit signals to phones, BlueBird 2 uses its large phased array to broadcast directly to mobile handsets. The phased array allows the satellite to form thousands of signal cells in space, each acting like virtual mobile towers in orbit. These beams target phones directly, meaning users can connect to the cellular broadband without any special equipment. This technology is especially valuable in mountainous terrains, deserts, oceans, forests, and other areas where poor ground coverage exists. The aim is truly everywhere connectivity, whether you're hiking, flying, or living off the grid. With the mission's wide-ranging aims, where exactly does ISRO come in, and what does it mean for the space agency? Well, as we know, the mission is being carried out as part of a commercial agreement between ISRO's commercial arm New Space India Limited and US-based AST Space Mobile, also known as AST and Science LLC. At 6,100 kgs, this is the heaviest payload to be placed by ISRO's heavy lift launch vehicle LVM-3. The previous record was held by LVM-M5 communication satellite 03, which weighed around 4,400 kg and was successfully launched by ISRO on November 2nd into the geosynchronous transfer orbit. It is also worth noting that the mission seeks to provide high-speed cellular broadband directly to smartphones worldwide for both commercial and government use, and will support 4G and 5G voice and video calls, messaging, streaming, and data services across the globe. Why is this significant, you may ask? Well, BlueBird 2 can reduce connectivity gaps by offering broadband where traditional networks are weak or non-existent, a crucial step towards global digital inclusion. This mission also highlights the growth of India's commercial space sector, as ISRO now regularly launches satellites for both national and international partners. In the broader scheme of things, if successful, space-based cellular broadband could transform how mobile networks are delivered, especially for emergency services, maritime communications, and rural connectivity. What's most significant, however, is the fact that a modified version of the LVM-3 rocket, which also is used in the Gaganyaan missions, this makes the successful conclusion of the BlueBird mission, which was the LVM's heaviest ever satellite. a huge boost for the space agency. ISRO is making efforts to introduce redundancies to the LVM-3 launch vehicle to ensure it is safe for humans for the Gaganyaan mission. It is also increasing its liftoff capacity to carry the modules for the Bharatiya Antariksha Station, India's own home-built space station. This mission marks the third time that the LVM-3 carried a satellite into lower Earth orbit, marking a significant moment for India's indigenous space production. Today's launch also came weeks after the LVM-3 rocket put the CMS-03 communication satellite in orbit on 2nd November, marking the shortest gap between two LVM-3 launches. The success of the mission has reaffirmed the Indian Space Agency's capability to quickly assemble its heavier missions.
ISRO's Bahubali rocket lifts off. First commercial mission for US firm. Giant leap for satellite communication. PM hails boost to self-reliance. What makes this mission unique?